in a nutshell, an easement is a right exercised by someone over another person's property. Easements can take a variety of forms, for example, a right of access for maintenance purposes, a right of way on foot or with vehicles or animals, or rights to pass service media, such as cables and pipes, over or under property. The law relating to easements is vast and complex, and easements can be created by a number of methods. The first most obvious method is an expressly granted easement by way of written deed, either as a standalone deed or within another document such as a lease. This should be registered and noted on the title of the land registry on both the benefiting and burden titles. Another way by which an easement can arise is through long use of a right. If a right is exercised over a piece of land for a certain period of time, an easement can arise by the doctrine of prescription. A third way an easement can arise is by implication. For example, a right of way is needed over some land in order to access highway, and without such right the property would be landlocked. In such cases, an easement applied by necessity can be obtained. Easements generally exist in perpetuity, but it is possible to bring easements to an end. An express release formalised by deed or conduct of the parties could imply a release. Easements can be terminated by way of abandonment if they have not been exercised for a substantial period of time, but termination by this method is limited and often difficult to prove. If you are purchasing property, it is important to check the title to see whether, amongst other things, the land is affected by an easement, and also make specific inquiries with the seller. Carry out a thorough investigation on the ground for evidence of rights being exercised, because remember, not all easements are created by way of written deed. Depending on their nature, easements can have an impact on the value of the property, not always, but if you are buying land which is subject to easements, it may be prudent to take advice from a land agent or surveyor to see whether there be any valuation considerations. Finally, if you are selling part of your property but retaining some, it is important to consider whether you will need the benefit of any easements over the land being sold, and conversely whether they will need the benefit of any easements over your retained land. Make sure that any required rights are contained within the sale documentation to prevent issues and possible disputes arising in the future.